Hi everybody, I'm Jack and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. It's a beautiful Saturday afternoon where I am, and I'm just enjoying the weekend. And I hope you're enjoying your weekend where you are. Just taking it easy today. I'm making a little bit of food, got the dehydrator going again. I'm doing some portobello mushrooms with some sauce and a little kind of pizza thing going, and dehydrating some eggplant too to see what I can do with that. So this should be some good dinner tonight. Anyway, the topic of today is transitioning. I've done transition video before, but it's been some time, so I thought I would do another one and talk about it in a little bit different way. Now, you know, this is my opinion. You may see the thing and you're saying, well, who does he think he is the best or the easiest way to transition to a raw vegan lifestyle? And I might mention, if you're not raw vegan or if you're not even interested in going raw vegan, it's like a train. You can get off anywhere along the line, but the transition part, whether you're raw till 4, is pretty much the same. One thing I just see over and over, and let me go back just a little bit and tell a little bit about my history on that part. As I've mentioned many times, and I won't go into the whole story again, is I transitioned without knowing I was transitioning. In January of 2012, I had got, you know, I was done, I was fed up, and I had my big health thing, and I said, okay, I'm going to get healthy. So I was already, you know, didn't know anything about raw vegan, but I was cutting out, I was basically, I cut the animal products like just because I kind of had an instinct for, you know, cutting animal products anyway. But so for the next 6 months, the animal products were at a minimum. I was eating a lot of vegetables. I was doing things I know now I shouldn't do. I was sauteing vegetables in olive oil a good bit, but still, I was transitioning. I didn't know it. So by June of 2012, when I found out, started learning about the raw vegan lifestyle, I had pretty much transitioned, and going raw and like cutting the rest of those animal products out was not a real problem. Now, what I see, I still firmly believe that most people that aren't succeeding on this lifestyle, a good percentage of them aren't succeeding on this lifestyle because they're not giving themselves the best chance. Now, the reason I think a thought out, slower transition is the best is because it gives you a little time to adjust to a new way of eating. The pain of the detox isn't as severe. It's not as hard because it doesn't require as much willpower to slowly, you know, go through that process as it does to just all of a sudden one day to say, boom, going cold turkey on everything and being a raw vegan or a raw till 4, and your body's going to freak out. I mean, I can't tell you how many Facebook groups I go to or how many comments I read about, and it's all about, oh my God, I'm on day 5 of this and feel like crap. Everybody's detoxing, and everybody seems to be, from their reaction to it, and I can't say this for another person, I can only make a guess, kind of offer an opinion, but just from the things I read, it's like, okay, you need to dial back a little bit. We get excited when we find out about this new lifestyle, as we do when we are new to almost anything, and we want to jump in and we want to do it as good as possible and we want to go all the way. And we have egos too, and sometimes the ego it'll be like, you go, like somebody might be listening to this and saying, hey, that's a pretty good idea, having a reasonable thought out thing, and other people might be listening, oh well, that's not me, I can handle it, I have the discipline, I have the willpower to do it. And there are some people that can do that. There are some people that just go like that, it makes sense to them, and no matter what their body is saying, no matter what the cravings are saying, it makes sense up here. Now, like I say, by the time I came to being a raw vegan, I was a lot cleaner than the person on the standard American diet. You know, I'd done a lot of my transitioning, so it wasn't as hard for me. But once I read about certain things and how they affected your health, I didn't have a choice anyway, because when I know something up here, I'm not putting poison in my body. Let's put it like, let's just call it what it is. There's a lot of the gentleness, and let's be, you know, we dance around a lot of subjects out there, but the bottom line is these cheats, these bad things, they're poison. And that's another part in your transition. You're going to do much better to take a slow transition and keep moving forward than you are if you try to be so severe You try to give everything up at once. You want to be that perfect, fully raw vegan, or you want to do raw for 100% from the beginning, and you're probably just not going to make it, because your body's either going to stop you, the detox is going to stop you, or the cravings are going to get to you. You've got to get your body clean. You've got to get, there's a process. It's, as I always mention, it's like detoxing off of drugs. Everything's going to change. A lot of stuff is going to change in your body when you really detox a good bit of this stuff out. Your taste buds are going to change. Smell, you're going to get, like I smell, like I was sniffing around the kitchen trying to find something the other day. I was like a hound dog. My roommate was looking at me funny. I'm going, but yeah, you get just these heightened awareness of your senses, heightened senses. I'm tongue-tied again. You feel this burst of energy, and it's just, you know, this is not a hard lifestyle. I mean, I see people, I'm really genuinely confused, and I hold back on talking about it too much because people are going to think maybe I'm being judgmental. I'm not being judgmental. It's something I simply don't understand. It's a hard lifestyle. I've tried to lose weight at many times in my life, and I've yo-yoed. I've probably done that same thing people do. Now, I've never gotten really super big, but 20 pounds up, 20 pounds down. I've probably lost the same 200 pounds in my lifetime. And every time I ever went on a diet or a new way of living, it was hard because it was based on restricting. You were restricting stuff, plus you were cutting out a lot of the stuff that you were used to eating. So you got a double whammy there. I just want to know if somebody can tell me, how can it be hard when you're encouraged to eat as much as possible, when you're encouraged to never be hungry? It's just, you know, but in the beginning it can be hard physically because of the things that are coming out of your body. You know, if you've been on that standard American diet for 20, 30, 40 years, you're not gonna detox that stuff out in a couple of weeks. Detox is a longer process than that. You know, I don't do any really scientific videos on the detox because it's just something that naturally occurs in my body, and I don't really need to get into all the depth of it. I know I'm detoxing all the time just from eating a clean lifestyle, but sometimes I don't think a lot of people really understand the detox. Detox is not this little quick thing. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Another thing in these I think the transition, so many people doing these islands. You know, the islands will never substitute for a transition. Let's think of it like this because it's perfect. You know, you got Banana Island, you've got Watermelon Island, you've got the islands. The islands are like going on vacation. The islands are an escape from reality, but they're not reality. They're not your day-to-day life. They can give you some very good detox, and be aware of that, and use those islands and use that method of mono-mealing at times. But it still does not substitute for the transition, and you can only do that so much. I see some people that are basically, they just make a total mentality of like, you know, I can get all my detox by doing these islands. But you're not learning, you're not relearning your lifestyle, you're not relearning habits, because you can't live on the island forever. It's just like you've gone to the island, you're avoiding what you're going to have to face one day, and eventually you're going to have to face that. Because if you're a newbie, you know, do the island. But you'll see eventually you can't live, you just can't do it over and over and over and over. And after a while you're going to have to learn good habits. And the best way to learn those habits is to transition. Learn things a little bit at a time. Okay, I'll give some specifics. If you're coming from the standard American diet, even I would almost put this for cigarettes. I know some people are advocates of cold turkey, but I'm about weaning off of things. Because just so many, it takes a very strong will to go cold turkey on anything. If you're full on eating meat and dairy, try to phase that out bit by bit. Just make that your first plan. If you're eating lots of meat and dairy now, oof, that might be over my head to even start giving you advice, because I don't really know a lot of people, even the people that don't live like I do. I don't have many friends that eat much heavy meat and dairy, so I don't really know where the person's mentality would be about health if they're coming from a heavy diet of meat and dairy. But if you are coming from a heavy diet of meat and dairy, I would just say, you know, like maybe cutting things out bit by bit. Like say to begin with, you're going to cut out red meat and pork. You'll still eat some chicken, you'll eat some fish. Try to even limit that. Try to cut out all the red meat and the pork, and try to maybe only 3 days a week have the chicken or the fish. You know, as you keep going on, get rid of the chicken and the fish. However, but use your judgment on how you need to do that. But don't drag it on forever. You don't need to take 6 months to get off the meat and the dairy. You know, you might immediately drop the pork and the red meat, beef, and you know, like go fish and chicken for a couple of weeks, 3 or 4 times a week. Smaller portions. Don't eat like Americans do. I found out when I go living in Latin America. In the United States, North America, we have the largest portions in the world. People in other countries, they don't even know when I talk to them. They don't know what an all-you-can-eat buffet or these large portions. So, you know, have the fish and the chicken maybe 3 times a week in a reasonable portion. Maybe after a week or 2, get rid of the chicken and just stick with the fish. And after another week or 2, get rid of the fish. Now the dairy, you can eat, if you really feel like it's going to be difficult for you, you can get rid of the meat first and then get rid of the dairy. But I would suggest, because I think the dairy is more heinous than the meat, to be honest with you. It's just mucus forming in the body. There's just nothing good about it. You're just drinking the secretions or eating things made from the secretions of another animal, which is just irrational now that, you know, I know, even though I ate a lot of dairy in my day. So, you know, phase that out. If you can at the same time, phase your dairy out while you're phasing the meat out. I think back to when I was in that transition that I didn't know about. What I was doing was I always stuck to my fruit. And here's another tip for you. Just do fruit until 12 o'clock. I mean, was it Fit for Life with the Diamonds, Harvey and Marilyn Diamond? I read that book years and years ago. And that one stuck with me, and I've used that a lot through the years, about eating nothing but fruit up until noon. So, you know, get a jump start. And I was doing that. I was eating fruit for breakfast, fruit through the morning, up through the day, usually a smoothie or a salad at lunch. And then at night, I would make, you know, sometimes it would be vegetables. Sometimes I was still eating a bit of rice. I'd have rice and beans and some vegetables. And about 3 times a week, I'd have a small portion of meat. Some of those nights, I was cooking eggs. I was adding some eggs in there. I was probably not drinking milk at that time, and I'm sure I was using cheese and omelets for the protein. You know, you got to get that protein. I've got some protein talk coming in a video probably later today, but you get what I'm talking about. Get that stuff out. Like, I think reasonably, to be honest with you, if you really systematically work on it, even if you're a heavy meat and dairy consumer, you could go vegan. You could get rid of the meat and the dairy in 4 to 6 weeks. And if you did it little by little by little by little, I don't think you're going to get a lot of bad detox symptoms from just eliminating the animal products. Now, once you get the animal products eliminated, you can start, you know, like I say, that breakfast trick. That's a good way, because, you know, we just want to, let's start getting more and more raw, whole plant-based foods in our life. So make that your goal too. Even while you're still eating the meat, maybe you're phasing out the stuff, but you're eating nothing but fruit, juices, and smoothies until noon. You slowly add more. You add more raw food. You add more whole plant-based food in there, and you take more of the cooked food out. Another thing, I maybe should have jumped in there. I might be doing this out of sequence. I would say from day one, when you're starting to eliminate the meat, when you're starting to eliminate the dairy, I would say before anything else, eliminate processed food. That stuff's garbage. It's not, Tanny, what do you say? It's toys. It's not even real. So try from the beginning to start getting rid of those processed foods as much as possible. you get rid of the meat, you get rid of the dairy, you get rid of the processed, you're eating fruit, juices and smoothies until noon, you're eating maybe a salad for lunch, you're eating plenty, you're eating cooked food. Don't even worry about not eating eat cooked food every night, even if you're trying to go raw vegan. Eat that cooked food, do it systematically. Okay, if you could potentially get off the meat and the dairy, and this is assuming a heavy meat and dairy eater, so you can scale down if you're not a heavy meat and dairy eater going into this. I say reasonably, you could get the animal products out within 4 to 6 weeks, and it'd be fairly comfortable. You could be getting rid of the processed all that time. You could be eating all the fruit up until 12, and you're adding more and more and more. I would say if you really systematically do this and you slowly wean off, I think you could be raw vegan in 2 months, 3 months tops. Now on the flip side of that, the people that have been trying to be, and here I disagree with some people, you've been trying to be raw vegan for 2 years. Now they're either, one of two things is going on. Either you didn't properly transition and you've been too stubborn even after failing over and over to admit it and go back and transition properly. Or 100% raw vegan may not be for you. Look, you should not be struggling with this lifestyle 2 years later. Not everybody's as fast as the others, but you should not be struggling trying to be a raw vegan a year and a half, 2 years later. Because psychologically, I believe big time that stress is as bad on our body as the food and the alcohol and smoking and stuff. And if you've been trying, I think that puts stress on your body, because if you've been trying for 2 years means you haven't been succeeding, which means you've been failing, and what I see a lot of people doing is beating themselves up instead of just saying, you know what, maybe I just do raw till 4, maybe I just be a vegan, maybe I do the starch solution. But you have to be comfortable within your lifestyle. You don't want to always be struggling within this lifestyle. There comes a point where I don't know, I couldn't do this. I had to have gotten to where I was when I did, because I'd have been moved on to the next thing. If I was 2 years in and I was still, going back and eating an egg, or if I was still going back and doing this or that, I would have to reevaluate my goals, and I would have to reevaluate my approach. Just something to think about. Like I say, not judging anybody, because it's not even so much important. I'm not trying to get you to being raw vegan, but I want you to be comfortable with your lifestyle, and I want you to be happy with your lifestyle. I don't want you to always be struggling. I see too many of these people that it's just like, wow, it's like watching a TV show where the character just never wins, and they just never get a break. It's just tough to watch it, and it's just not good for us. Anyhow, let's see, what haven't I covered about the transitioning part? I think that's about it. But if you will really if you'll be honest with yourself, and don't be in such a hurry. It's like, I know, probably when people but I want to get rid of the weight, I want to get rid of this goo in my body, I want to get rid of this. It took you a lifetime to get here. Lay back and enjoy the ride. Man, okay, you guys are going to make me feel like everything else I see out there, I really do live in my own little bubble down here, because, everything is tranquilo. If anybody even raises their voice down here sometimes, like I've asked a question in a loud voice sometimes, and my friends are like, man, tranquilo, settle down. It's just like, just take it easy, enjoy the ride. There's no hurry to get there. If you're 50 years old, if you're 40 years old, and I don't care how much you weigh, or I don't care how bad your health is, unless it's a crisis situation, unless you had cancer, unless you really had some sort of pressing situation. It took you a long time to get there. It's going to take you a long time to get well. So just do the best you can and have a systematic approach. If you follow a systematic approach, you're going to have a much better chance of success, and you're going to be in this lifestyle for a long time. Anyhow, I hope this helped a little bit. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and I will be back with you a little bit later for another video. Peace.